Welcome back, narrative archaeologists. Last time, we followed Kaylin, our data diver, as she plunged into the digital depths of the Grand Library, chasing whispers of the five master narratives. She found a fragmented file, a single line of corrupted code that resonated with a strange, impossible familiarity. But what she unearthed was more than just data. She awoke something ancient, something that was never meant to be found. And now, the hunt begins. Today, we dive into Chapter 4, Your Reflection Hires a Private Investigator. The hum of the servers was Kalyn's constant companion, a white noise symphony that usually soothed her. But not tonight. Tonight, the hum felt like a low growl, a warning. Her eyes burned from staring at the screen, rereading the single line of code she'd salvaged. Where the story ends, you begin. It felt less like a clue and more like a prophecy she couldn't decipher. She pushed back from her terminal, rubbing her temples. The pressure in her head was immense, a migraine blooming behind her eyes. She decided a splash of cold water might clear her thoughts. The stark, white light of the washroom was jarring after the dim glow of the server hall. Kalyn leaned over the basin, the porcelain cold against her palms. She turned on the tap, the rush of water a welcome distraction. As she splashed her face, the cold was a shocking, grounding sensation. She straightened up, water dripping from her chin, and looked into the mirror. And that's when her world tilted on its axis. Her reflection wasn't mirroring her. It stood perfectly still, her eyes fixed on her with an unnerving intensity. Kalyn froze, her heart hammering against her ribs. She blinked. The reflection didn't. She slowly, deliberately, raised her right hand. The figure in the mirror remained motionless, its hands at its sides. A cold dread, colder than the water on her skin, washed over her. This wasn't a glitch in her tired brain. This was real. "Who are you?" Kalyn whispered, her voice trembling. The reflection's lips curved into a faint, sad smile. "I am you," it said, its voice a perfect echo of her own, yet somehow older, laden with a sorrow she couldn't comprehend. Or rather, a part of you. A narrative residue, left behind in the simulation. Kalyn stumbled back, her mind reeling. A narrative residue? The concept was theoretical, a fringe theory whispered among the most radical data divers. The idea that when a consciousness jacked into the deep web, fragments of its personality, its story, could be shed like skin, creating echoes in the data streams. But they were supposed to be mindless, fleeting phantoms of code. This was different, this was sentient. "That's impossible," Kalyn managed to say. "Is it?" the reflection countered, its gaze unwavering. "You dug for a story, Kalyn. You found one, mine, ours, and in doing so, you woke me up. You gave me form." It gestured to its own form, a perfect replica of her, standing on the other side of the glass. "But you also woke something else. A new kind of fear, sharp and specific, pierced through Kalyn's confusion." "What did I wake?" The reflection's smile vanished. Its expression became grave. "The erasure," it said, the name hanging in the air like a death sentence. "It's not a person. It's not a program. It's a force. A self-correcting mechanism of the simulation, designed to maintain the status quo. It hunts those who get too close to the truth, those who unearth the five master narratives. It doesn't just delete data, Kalyn. It erases existence. It rewrites reality until you're nothing but a ghost, a story no one remembers." Kalyn thought of her daughter, Alara. Her bright smile, the sound of her laughter. The reason she did all of this. To build a better world, a real world for her. The thought of something erasing her, was a physical blow. "Why are you telling me this?" Kalyn asked, her voice hardening. "What do you want?" "I want to survive," the reflection stated simply. "And to do that, I need you to survive. You are the source code. If you're erased, I fade into nothing." "That's why," it paused, a strange look crossing its face, a mixture of irony and grim determination. "I've hired a private investigator." Kalyn stared, bewildered. "You... what?" "A narrative specialist," the reflection clarified. "Someone who operates in the cracks of the system, who understands how to hide a story, how to bend a narrative. We need to find the five master narratives before the erasure finds you. It's our only chance to fight back, to become more than just a story it can delete." The air in the small washroom felt thick, charged with an impossible energy. Kaylin looked at the being in the mirror, her own face looking back at her, and saw a desperate ally. A divided self united against a common, unknowable enemy. And then it happened. The lights flickered once, twice, and died. The hum of the servers, the ever-present heartbeat of the Grand Library ceased. A profound, absolute silence fell, a dead quiet Kaylin had never experienced in her entire life. It wasn't just the building, it was global. For 47 seconds, the entire world went dark. No power, no data, no noise, just a suffocating worldwide silence. Then, just as suddenly as it left, the power surged back. The lights buzzed on, the servers whirred to life, the world rebooted. Kaylin was momentarily blinded, her ears ringing in the sudden return of sound. Her first instinct, a primal parental urge, was to check on Alara. She scrambled for her personal datapad, her fingers fumbling with the screen. She pulled up Alara's school profile, her medical records, her birth certificate registered in the global database. A single message glowed on the screen for each file she tried to access. Error 404, not found. Panic seized her. She frantically typed Alara's full name into the Grand Library's primary search index. The most powerful search engine in existence. The cursor blinked. The system processed. And then, the result. 0 entries found. It was as if her daughter, the center of her universe, had never existed. Every photo, every record, every digital footprint. Gone. Wiped clean from the memory of the world. Her name was now a broken link. A story that had been completely and utterly erased. The erasure had made its first move. It hadn't come for Kaylin, it had taken something far, far worse. It had taken her future. The reflection stared out from the mirror, its expression one of shared horror and grim resolve. "It's begun," it whispered. "It knows you're looking." Kaylin's world had been hollowed out in 47 seconds, leaving a void where her daughter used to be. The hunt for the 5 master narratives was no longer a matter of academic curiosity. It was a war for memory, for existence itself. And Kaylin, now an incomplete woman, had just lost her very first battle. The erasure has struck, and the cost is unimaginable. Kaylin's daughter is gone, deleted from reality itself. How do you fight an enemy that can rewrite the past? How do you find what has been so completely erased? The answers lie buried and the path forward is broken. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because you cannot afford to miss what happens next. Our story continues, but our next chapter is gone. Join us as Kaylin is forced to confront a void in the narrative in Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is missing. What happens when the map to the truth has a giant gaping hole in it? We'll see you there.